Thank you so much for tuning into Atlanta & Company. I'm Christine Pilara. From building a better credit score to dealing with pesky collection agencies, National Credit Educational Services can provide all the help you need for the brand new year. And joining us today is credit expert George Cole and Pamela Ramos with some advice that you need to hear if you need to get back on track. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
It's been a long time for you.
Yes,
Don't be a stranger.
No.
Especially I think when I first interviewed you was years ago when, of course, we were in the middle of the recession.
Correct.
A lot of people during that time, part of the reason why the recession came about was people with less than spectacular credit scores were being able to get into these homes. Now people say it's really hard. You know, and so what do you do to those people who have done some damage over the years?
Yeah, well, basically the criteria has changed.
Right.
You know, it was a loose situation for people to get into homes before. No verification, no docs, no nothing. And so, you know, but now they tighten up on the policies and created a more stringent format for people to qualify to verify income, to make sure that you really have verified his income by them double checking with the IRS to see if that was the actual tax return that was turned in. But it's still not difficult for people to be able to get a house. One, they need to get their credit in order. Two, they need to be able to understand some of the previous debt that they had, that they owed, on how they either can settle it or work it out. Either it's past the statute of limitations or whatever it is. And then how to begin to start reestablishing new credit. And so it really doesn't take that long. And then through the credit restoration, of course, that will help also speed up the process of getting the home.
Right, and nowadays, I mean, you know, good credit is so essential. It permeates into so many areas of your life, and there are some necessary factors to building good credit. So tell us what some of those are.
Well, basically, some of the necessary factors are, number one, you want to be able to reduce your balances on your credit cards. That's one of the key factors. The balances on the credit card says so much about you. Are you budgeting? Are you living within your means? Are you overextended? Are you making enough money? If your balances are high, it says that, you know, these are issues. And therefore, they're going to be a penalty against you, and it's about 30% of the credit.
Right. I mean, I've mentioned to our viewers on the show, my husband's like Clark Howard's brother in another life.
He is,
yeah, I remember? Yes. And I mean, just really strict about those cards and not having store cards where the interest rate is so high. So yeah, just make sure you're paying your bills on time if you have them at all. And step two is, let's go ahead and get to that one.
Well, it's also very important to make all payments on time. Having a late payment will affect your credit score by 35%. So it is something that will negatively affect you. And remember, when you make one late payment, that's 30 days plus 1 day, you're late. That's going to stay in your credit report for 7 years. It's going to affect you for at least 2 or 3 years, but it'll start reducing itself as it gets older, but it's still there.
It's still there. So 30 plus 1, and that's it.
Yes.
You've got that mark. You're forever branded. And so let's talk about the third step.
Well, basically, if you ever decide to start closing accounts, you want to leave your oldest account open because length of history.
I wondered about that. I feel like I hear conflicting things with, if you pay off a balance, do you keep the card open or not? Oh, you do.
Yes.
So it shows that you've got the card open, but you've got the available credit, but you have it at zero.
You have it at zero, right? So you're properly managing it, and you might want to use the card every 4 months. This should show some activity to the lender so they don't close it because of no activity.
Terrific.
But now you have the history, and the history is how they calculate the score, and that's 15% of your credit score.
Wow. Okay, and then reducing the number of inquiries. Talk about that. I don't think a lot of people realize. You get some of those things in the mail, some of those applications, you just start going, oh, I want that card, I want that card. It dings you every time. I mean, it shows up on your credit score.
It's almost like getting those phone calls on caller ID that when you see this person, they're asking for money. So what do? Decline the call.
Right.
And when they see you applying for credit again, they're going to decline your request because there's too many inquiries. Your debt is out of proportion, and the balances are not correct, and you're not paying on time. You don't have a lot of history, and now you're still asking or begging for more money.
Begging for money.
And so it's a clear picture of how you look and you're presenting yourself to the FICO scoring system.
Right, recipe for disaster. And then finally, our last step to building a good credit score, have a variety of credit.
Yes.
Meaning a home, having your mortgage, maybe a gas card,
Yes.
that just varies.
A variety of credit.
Car
right.
loan.
Car loan, maybe a student loan. You know, the more variety of credit you have, it shows that you have a balance in your life, that all credit is important to you. Because, you know, when we, I guess, have the opportunity to talk about credit scores, we could touch on that.
Yeah, and Pamela, I want to turn to you. We haven't meant to leave you out. We just wanted to get to those 5 steps. How would the Latino community benefit from credit restoration and education for all of this?
Muchos latinos hoy en día llegan a este país y no saben lo que es reporte de crédito. And it's just like credit report. Y ellos necesitan establecer un crédito para su futuro, para que agarren tarjetas de crédito con intereses bajos y cuando saquen su casa también tengan un pago bien pequeño. A veces es bueno comprar casas cash, pero al final del día es mejor sacar un personal loan. In other words, we want to, like George was just saying, we want to establish great credit history where we can get new cars and be aware of the education where you can get new cards with low interest, and instead of paying everything cash, you want to establish credit.
Right, right. And let's say somebody unfortunately has had a really tough time and those credit or collection agencies are harassing them. What can people do?
What?
What we send is a devalidation letter, so these creditors will stop them from harassing. Some of them are past the statute of limitations. They are not allowed to report this on your credit report. Each state has a statute of limitations, and we can find that online, and we can find out more about it. We don't want to ignore this information from not knowing or just for them to be reporting this on all 3 of your credit reports.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Great information. We could talk about this
We
for
sure can.
a half day
Yes, we can.
and then some. Thank you so much. Great to see you
appreciate it.
again. Pamela, thank you for being here. And again, if you would like more information about NCES and to get a jump start on your own financial planning, please visit ncesnow.org or give them a call at 770-952-5168. We'll be back.